All right, everybody, welcome to the comic panel. I'm Cody.
I'm Tailon.
And I'm Chawienta.
And today we are covering Swamp Thing, Green Hell, written by Jeff Lemire, art by Doug Mahnke, additional art for issue number 3 by Sean Mall, and then colors by David Barron, and letters by Steve Wands. And yeah, this is part of our theme of botany comics.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, it could also be our thing comics.
Yes,
because last episode we did Man Thing, and now here we are with Swamp Thing.
Mm-hmm.
Which I was I believe editing the previous post-mortem episode. And Chawienta, you did say that Swamp Thing was kind of obvious, but also I was panic deciding because I was like, oh man, I need to choose something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hey, I chose this theme with a certain other character in mind. If anybody would take the hint. Why isn't she called Poison Thing?
Poison Thing.
And yet you didn't choose a book with her.
I don't know
in
what to do for that. That's your job.
Oh, okay. You know
okay.
what? For you, Chawienta, I'll pick that. I needed a.
You'll attempt.
Yeah.
I needed a book to pick.
I think. Okay, so first I would do some research first because I could be wrong, but I believe that it is Scott Snyder's New 52 Swamp Thing that brings in Poison Ivy into like the whole like mystical world of that. So that could be an interesting one, but also it could be a different run that not Scott Snyder's.
Oh, gotcha.
But speaking of Scott Snyder's, this book actually takes a lot from the stuff that he built. And so that, yeah, I almost picked his run in the first place. And then I was like, man, that's long. That's a long.
I'm curious to find out how so, because of course I have no context.
Yeah. For sure. So, to get right into it, this story is an alternate future. It's a little bit, it's published by DC Black Label, DC's kind of darker, mature audience, imprint. And it reminds me a little bit of Wonder Woman Dead Earth, which we, covered. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so it's a post-apocalyptic, future eco-apocalypse.
They do pretty good at like the beginning, kind of not giving that away until the right moment.
Right? Yeah.
That they have the kid, they're both fishing. They could just be regular fishers.
Mm-hmm.
They pull up all that junk, and then the little girl and her dad find a golf club, and the little girl's like, "What is this?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh no. What's happened? We've lost the tragic art of golfing."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or we tragically lost the art of golfing.
It's the tragic art.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and then like the dad is all like, "I'm old enough to know what that is."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, no. So, a lot of the world at this point is underwater. It's a little bit like the movie WaterWorld.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was a movie. What do you mean that's not about amusement park? But yeah, they have a little community on this barely island, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. Exactly. It's a small island community. There's a lighthouse that is nobody goes over there.
You know
what? There's a weirdo there.
Yeah.
I could be convinced, and I doubt it is this, but I could be convinced there's an image of them in the water and they're looking at their colony and it's like a mountain, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, I could be convinced that's Mountain Justice, but I don't think that's what they were going for.
No, I don't think so.
I mean, if everything's going underwater, mountain, close to a mountain is probably where you're going to survive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a type of mountain, but yeah. But yeah, so basically, we just kind of get how the world has changed. There's, we're
led to believe that there's not that many humans, and this small colony of humans is having trouble getting by. They're not making that much food, or they're not even catching that much food either.
Mm-hmm.
And they're having a tenuous dispute with another colony of humans that are on like an oil rig nearby.
Yes.
Yeah, something like that.
They're having conflicts over like leaving or dying here and drowning, which like I don't know how safe the oil rig is.
Yeah, well, I mean, really, the people of the oil rig are essentially like, yeah, we have more weapons and stuff like that. We control you. Basically, we get like 50% of like whatever you catch, grow, whatever. 50% of your supplies, and just because we're more powerful than you.
They're criminals.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and do they say
Yeah.
it like under the guise of protection?
Not even really. But...
No. They don't even do that. They're just like, if you guys would just give in to like violence and weapons, you could be as strong as us.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You're so weak, living in houses.
Yeah. And then, meanwhile, while they're fighting, we get a conversation between the elemental forces of the green, the rot, and the red.
Ah, the rot.
The green being kind of like they're governed by those trees, right? And then
Yes.
they kind of all of nature and greenery versus the red being more like, red-blooded animals.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And the rot's just like, I'll eat whatever you guys give me if it's dead.
Yeah.
Do you think that the red does not include humans?
No, it does.
It does?
Oh, it definitely does.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean...
Animals. No. Okay.
Like,
Tailon, this is literally part of the story. Like,
I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, I don't know. They're certainly not protecting us.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's part of what they say early on is like the red cannot, willingly use humans to or attack humans, basically, because they would be attacking themselves, but they can like support the green.
So they're encouraging the green
Yeah.
to take down the humans to take back the earth in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's kind of like having, I don't know, a sheep farm and a pack of wolves coming in and like killing your sheep. You're like, all right, we're going to kill the wolves.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works. That works. No, that's...
I don't know who's who in this analogy.
Oh, I mean, it's the
humans.
The humans are the wolves.
Wolves, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, so the red and the green and the rot all feel that, like, humans have been leading to the downfall of everything. The green and the red are suffering.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, well, like you said, the red are like, we can't take them out. It's us, kind of. They're part of us.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't you do it, green?
Yeah. And so...
They were like...
This coincides with the little fishing community here with the dad and the daughter. Where the dad and the daughter live. One of the people in that community has been stockpiling weapons. Is like, well, we're gonna show those people on the oil rig that they can't push us around anymore.
Oh yeah,
as weapons.
Mm-hmm.
So that group goes in and slaughters a bunch of people on the oil rig.
Mm-hmm. Including like kind of the main aggressor of the oil rig community.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that main guy, the main villain of the oil rig, he knew the dad and the daughter, right?
Yeah.
That was his brother-in-law.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It seemed like the implied connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because, well, obviously he's also killed and he falls in the water. and the green use him as a chance to fight back. They possess his body.
Yes. They turn him into a swamp thing.
Just another swamp thing.
But like, you know, like really gnarly and ugly, like the man thing.
It's more feral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. And like, yeah, it, you know, it feels a little bit like Carnage.
Yeah, I see it.
Very like just wanton violence. So yeah. And basically, yeah, just with the instruction from the green to just kill all. Yeah, and so that gets brought back to the island community. And like at first, like people start defending themselves, but not very well.
Yeah. No,
yeah, like pretty much people are just like dying left and right. And the dad sends his daughter away.
Tells her to go up north and keep going.
Yeah, basically they'll meet at sunrise, but if they don't meet, then just keep going without him. And so, yeah, but then...
Yeah, we didn't mention that old guy, George.
Yes.
Yep. George had other plans. He was like, no.
Well, so first of all, George seems to know the dad pretty closely. You know, he's helping look out for the little girl. And he's also the one who's like, a golf club. I'm a collector. Hand that over.
Yeah.
So he's always got his golf club with him now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, he directs the kiddo, the girl, to the lighthouse, right? He's the one who's always telling her the stories about some weirdo in the lighthouse.
Yeah.
While her dad and several other members of the community are like, no, don't ever interact with the guy at the lighthouse. Or not even say guy, just says like,
don't go to the lighthouse.
Yeah. But yeah, basically they go there, and it turns out that it is John Constantine who is there. Now, in his older age, probably like, I don't know, 70s, it looks like. Yeah. And so...
Still alive and kicking, walking around.
Yeah, so basically he understands that, you know, there's something wrong that needs to be made right, you know. He's going to save the, you know, what's left of humanity one last time. And so he brings back from where he was Alec Holland, the original Swamp Thing. Yeah, and then Swamp Thing is not happy about that.
So, by bringing him back, was he dead?
Well, yeah, I mean, he was...
Well, I guess he already died to become Swamp Thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of a... I think I'm understanding your question, Chawienta, which is that where was... Swamp Thing, like, I mean, going into the next book, you know, we see before Constantine brings him to where he is, he's in a like functional paradise with his wife Abigail and his daughter Teffy.
Well, I say it that way.
Yeah. And yeah, there's a question, is that quote unquote heaven, afterlife? Is that... Yeah, and I think...
That's my impression.
Yeah, I think that it's kind of yes and no. I don't think that he necessarily died to get there, but I do think that this was like later on when he's talking to the parliament, he was given the opportunity to become a member of the parliament, and then he was like, no, I don't want to. And then they were all like, all right, well, we will give you this instead.
Retirement.
Yeah, basically retirement, which I think that his wife was dead though, so I'm like, I don't know if she, like, comics, they bring people back to life all the time. So maybe she got brought back to life, and then she also just gets to be at this place too. Or maybe she was dead the whole time, and this is, the afterlife.
Yeah.
Kind of confusing. Gotta read other runs to know.
Yeah. And for context, the Parliament is the Parliament of Trees, which is the green. They're protectors of the green, I guess.
Right. The way that the green speaks.
Mm-hmm. And they are the people that decide, we're like, okay, guys, seriously, humans are evil. We need to kill them.
Yeah. In this story.
Yeah.
Yeah, they only, because of what they are, they care for the green only. And I'm pretty sure, without having read the stories, that's why Swamp Thing didn't join the Parliament in the first place, because he didn't only care about the green. He cared about more than the green.
I see.
Yeah. But yeah, so, yeah. But I mean, that also you could kind of say that he's like, he would functionally be dead. He's on a different plane of reality. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Constantine brings him back, and he's like, hey, you need to save the humans one last time.
Mm-hmm.
Against yourself, sort of.
Yeah.
The green's at it again.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, like Constantine is like, you can kill me, but you're now bound to Earth again, so
Yeah.
you need me to send you back, basically. So yeah, against his wishes, basically, Swamp Thing, Alec, he was like, all right, let's go, I'll kill this thing. And so he goes and he starts fighting it.
And then kills it very quickly.
Yeah, but he also brings him in psychic meeting with the Parliament of Trees. And basically they see this as, well, basically at first they give him an ultimatum. You can stop fighting, they'll, continue their plan to kill all the humans, and they'll just send him back to where he was. But he sees the little girl and George and understands that it's just like his family, and that his wife Abigail wouldn't want him to forsake their lives. And so he decides that he will stay and fight. But the cost of that is that the green remove their power and influence from him. And so he cannot regenerate his body anymore. He will only be able to have the green body that he has right now. And, if he gets killed, that's it. He's dead. And also they won't return him, obviously, back to his other plane of existence with his family.
It's like
kind of been deserted.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, the Flash being connected to the Speed Force, and the Speed Force just deciding, no, you're not connected anymore.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, yeah,
Is that how the Flash works?
Yeah.
Kind of. I mean, it's not like it doesn't have
silly.
Consciousness, though.
It doesn't?
Oh, okay.
I don't think so. I don't know.
Well, okay, to be fair, I am making this based off of the TV
Everything
show.
has consciousness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. They when they get bored, they kind of just do that. Like the Cosmic Cube has consciousness now.
Yeah.
But yeah, he goes back to an even harder fight, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't even have his powers, really.
Yeah, he comes back. He's still fighting the other Swamp Thing, the evil Swamp Thing. And then, the dad and the daughter, start helping. Obviously, the daughter, not that much. She just throws rocks. But then, that makes the dad step in.
Yeah.
But yeah, eventually Alec is able to kill the evil Swamp Thing.
Defeat the beast.
Yeah. And they get a moment of reprieve, basically. They're hoping that that's the end of it. But it is not the end of it. Basically, the red, the green, and the rot decide that now that, they have a protector, that they should redo their plan, but with an army of elemental soldiers, basically. Combining their power, and so they start rising these swamp things from the ocean, but like, they're not even like based off of human bodies anymore. They're just things,
including skeletons.
Meanwhile, Constantine is working on getting more people to help. So
a bigger solution.
Yeah, a bigger solution
than just the swamp thing.
Yeah. So he goes and visits Boston Brand, aka Dead Man. We've met him in a few comics we've covered as a side character usually.
Most notably,
was he in the Magic Order?
Yes, he was in the Magic Order.
But most notably, he was in the DC Valentine's Day special.
Yes.
Most importantly.
Yeah.
What did he do?
He was in that one story with the little kid who gets possessed.
Oh my god, him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a weirdo.
Yeah. So basically, he asks Boston Brand to help him go and track down somebody that we don't know who it is yet. And then, basically, then the hordes of swamp things come up from the ground. And I don't even know if it's right to call them swamp things anymore. They're elemental beasts, I guess.
Yeah.
Got like tentacles and they're a machination of the red, the green, and the rot all together. But then jump back to Dead Man and Constantine. They have gone to Nada Parbat Mountain, which was formerly in Pakistan. And
wait, so Nanda Parbat I thought that was the League of Assassins.
No, that's a different place.
Oh, okay.
I believe. I could be wrong, though, because there's a lot of, like, weird fictional places that are also, like, near real places. I don't even know if this place is real on a real map. I'd have to look it up.
I would say doubt.
Yeah. But so they're on a mountain. They basically are there to see a person. There's a bunch of like tame wild animals, lions mostly. And they're greeted by an old woman who is not happy to see them, and they're like, "What do you want?"
Well, and she knows it's Constantine.
Yeah, she knows Constantine.
Everybody's always happy to see Constantine.
Yeah.
That is the one through line between all of Constantine.
Yeah.
I mean, they even have that line he says where it's like, I can count on one hand the like one person who's happy to see me once.
Yeah.
Is that what that meant? I had to pause on that because I was like so confused.
Yeah, that's what he meant.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought he was saying I could count on one finger the people who hated me. I was like, huh? That doesn't make any sense.
No, the opposite. But so they are there to see Animal Woman. And so we find out, we find out that she is the daughter of Buddy Baker, Animal Man, which we did cover Grant Morrison, Animal Man, a while ago. A long time ago.
2 years ago almost? Something like that.
I feel like maybe longer, but it might have been 3 now. Yeah.
So I had no idea that there's such a thing as Animal Woman. So that took me by surprise.
Yeah. This is definitely, like I said earlier, this is taking ideas from that were built in the Scott Snyder Swamp Thing run, because I believe he also, if he doesn't write the issues himself, it's definitely included in the big collection of the run. There are a few issues of the New 52 Animal Man that with the Swamp Thing. So there's definitely a crossover.
Gotcha.
And I believe that that's where his daughter, develops powers and, interesting though to me, not really important, but interesting that she has dark hair in this, but blonde hair in her flashback.
Yeah.
And then later she has gray hair.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Her skin tone is very different.
Yeah. Overall, I was like,
how is this the same person?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could see a little bit of skin tone difference just from
she could tan.
Yeah.
She could be, she's living with her little animal friends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess,
The lover of grime.
Yeah.
Her hair is a mystery to me. It's slightly dreadlocky.
Oh, yeah.
In certain panels.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, and then it's later on, it's just kind of messy gray. I'm like, that's what happened.
Yeah. Yeah, don't worry about it. But yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. Maybe the only kind of answer, if I'm looking to come up with an answer for it, is that Animal Man could lightly shapeshift.
Magical girl transformation.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. But yeah, so while all of that is happening, Swamp Thing, he is now he has a lot less power, but he realizes that he still has some of the green in him. And so he basically makes a big green, pulse, just tears through everything via little plant tentacles,
Yeah. He shoot up out of the ground.
Yeah, but it leaves him super weak.
Mm-hmm.
And so he starts to see his daughter, but she's like, you have to get up. And then meanwhile, it is really the young girl on the island telling him that he has to get up. And then, basically he's talking to his daughter. He's like, I'm ready. I'm here to be home, and she's like, no, you have to fight one last time. And then it looks like the red and the rot, steal her away basically in his, almost death dream.
Mm-hmm.
And so he gets up, he's ready to fight again, but now he's much more skeletal.
Yeah. Like Superman throwing that missile to the sun. Yeah.
And when?
No, wait. Okay, that's actually from Batman v Superman. But that's originally from
the Dark
Flashpoint.
Knight. Oh, Flashpoint.
Where they found him after the 30 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
We haven't covered Flashpoint.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've read it.
Okay.
Everybody's read it.
Yeah. Yeah. So then basically they start, Swamp Thing is trying to make a plan. They start getting all of the kids down in a little bunker area basically. They're ready to fight. Swamp Thing at first is like, nah, you guys should just leave, and they're like, yeah, we're either going to die out there on the ocean or we're going to die here protecting our home. So we're just going to protect our home.
And then a fight ensues.
Yes. Yeah, more creatures come. Oh, and also earlier, I forgot to say, Animal Woman is like, yeah, I don't care, actually. I'm not helping.
Mm-hmm. And then Constantine's like, who have you become?
Yeah.
You were bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, but then it looks like, hope is lost. It looks like there's going to be creatures coming up from the floor and where the children are, but it turns out it's a little mole.
Mm-hmm.
A little burrowing mole.
I really thought that he was going to, build a hole for them to crawl through?
Yeah, a little bit.
I was kind of I had like a moment of like, oh no, it's gonna attack.
Oh.
Its eyes are gonna turn red. It's gonna be the red.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also kind of thought that for a second too. Both things. I was like, wait, is this still bad? And I was like, no, it's good. But yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, then a big old tiger, or not tiger, is that a lioness? Some big jungle cat comes and attack.
Yeah, it's not drawn like an animal. Animal features, but like it doesn't, like the way that its arms and legs are formed, it doesn't.
It's pretty close. It's got glowing blue eyes, but that's it. Yeah, but it jumps on one of the beasts that's attacking Swamp Thing, and basically Animal Woman with a army of animals is there to help. Mm-hmm. And then, but Swamp Thing needs one more, and you can kind of see he's basically gotten one person to help from the green, one from the red, and then there's not really an avatar of the rot, but I kind of still see like the parallels here. He decides that he needs one last thing to help out.
This is Constantine.
Yes,
by the way.
Constantine. So he takes out one of those, just classic weird shaped magic knives, and he slices down his wrists to basically kill himself, but in a magic way that leads to him going down to hell. Mm-hmm. And
where his best friends are.
Yeah, his best friends.
By best friends, I mean people he deals with often.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's always promising his soul and then finding a way to sneak out of it.
Right.
I mean, his best friends might be there. I mean, he killed a lot of them.
Yeah. So. But that's not these people. Yeah, I don't know. This isn't the devil per se, because Lucifer is a character.
Yeah, I think it's a specific character that Constantine deals with often, though. I just don't recall the name.
Right, yeah. Not somebody that I'm familiar with. But seems to be a leader of hell in some way. Mm-hmm. And yeah, definitely they have history. This demon entity has been after Constantine's soul for a while. And so Constantine's
like, I'll let you have it this time. Yeah. Promise.
Yeah. So, basically they strike a deal. It's like, hey, you win either way. Either you get my soul and, all of the humans die, and then you get all of their, or half of their souls, probably. He's just kind of making an estimate that like half of them are probably going to go to hell. And then, or you get my soul and the soul pipeline continues. Mm-hmm. So, basically he's like, yeah, all right, it's a deal then, And so he, this demonic force powers up Swamp Thing. And
becomes ultra mega Swamp Thing.
Yeah. And then meanwhile, Constantine is dying, in his lighthouse home. And Dead Man's there with him. And Swamp Thing and Animal Woman are able to kill all of the soldiers of the elements. Mm-hmm. And they each go and confront the green and the red respectively, basically being like, they personally destroy the parliament and whatever the red is. I don't know what their thing is.
Yeah. The parliament of whatever that is.
Yeah, little worm people.
That's what. Yeah, that's what that looks like.
Yeah, and they basically decide that they're going to, be in charge now, more or less, of their domains.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, George does not make it, the old man, but the dad and the daughter do, and Swamp Thing gets to go back to his wife and kids.
Yeah, that's what makes me think he wasn't the ruler. It just...
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. He sits on the throne that's made out of the Parliament's trees, though, so I don't know.
Well, yeah, okay, so he has that, but he's like you said, he's like, the humans can choose for themselves now.
Yeah,
you don't have to, have an iron fist over them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. So, yeah, it is kind of like... I don't think that he's going to be, making a lot of decisions, but also... if there is a decision to be made, he's going to, have that power, I guess, I think by destroying who is in charge of the green, it's like, then that creates like a power vacuum kind of thing. But at the same time, it's weird because as we'll get to very shortly, this does have like an ending that's like, there could be more, but also I doubt there's going to be more of this. I seriously doubt there's going to be more.
You can't end a story and not hint at more.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Right. So it's kind of like, it's a little bit of a moot point to like be like, well, is he going to rule the green? Does he have extra powers? Like, how does that work?
Right.
But yeah, we see that this little girl, she's mourning the death of George after they've buried him. And then suddenly she makes a bunch of flowers and grass bloom at his grave because she now is empowered by the green.
Yep. They have this caption box, Swamp Thing never dies.
Mm-hmm. So I'm like, man, is she going to become a Swamp Thing, or is she going to get like the cool deal of being like Animal Man and Animal Woman, where she can just like control stuff but still be a human?
You gotta give in to the swamp.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was Swamp Thing Green Hell.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. And if I didn't really explain it well, a lot of the Parliament and the red and the green and the raw, all of that came from Scott Snyder's New 52 run on Swamp Thing.
Gotcha.
But yeah, this you could tell that this is Jeff Lemiere's work because it deals a lot with fatherhood.
Oh,
at the moment, the first page had the kid being like, "Dad," I was like, Jeff Lemire.
Yeah, Dad and on a boat.
Wow, that's weird.
For real.
I was not paying that close attention.
And the water.
Yeah.
So, but I wasn't expecting to enjoy this book because of Jeff Lemire, but then I think about all the Jeff Lemire books we've read, and I'm like, oh wait, I like most of them. Mm-hmm. So I appreciate that, the father-daughter dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, I'll just say too, you asked me before we recorded, or basically a week ago, you asked me if basically what I thought how I would like this book, and I was expecting, I guess, a little bit more experimental art because this is from DC Black Label, and that's usually where you'll find it more often than not. And this was good. It was it was workable art. But it was not anything to really write home about to me, where I was like, whoa, this is blowing my mind,
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like though, I think I like this art because Jeff Lemire books, from my perspective, is always more in the kind of more, what's the word? Not artistic, I guess artistic, but
independent style, kind of.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, I guess
opposite of realism.
Oh, okay. Yeah. More abstract or closer in abstraction on the
expressionist.
Expressionist.
I think that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's right. Anyway, but this art is a lot more on the realism side than I would say most of them are.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is like
a little gritty for the apocalypse feel.
Yeah, and I feel like when you say, like, you know, other Jeff Lemire books in the art, you're talking about the ones that he draws himself more so, because, like, there's we've done Black Hammer before.
Oh, yeah.
That's, you know,
more. Yeah. That's more on the realism. Yeah, so, I'm thinking, like, Underwater Wielder and the Trillium.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, those were a very specific style.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even... Didn't he draw, or maybe that was somebody else, the first book that you chose, Chawienta, as Descender?
No,
that wasn't.
No.
Was that not Jeff Lemiere?
No.
Oh, no.
That is not.
Well, my bad.
I can see, like, what you're associating between the two art styles, but yes, Descender and Trillium are not drawn by the same person.
Yeah. There might be a different Jeff Lemire book that starts with a D that we've read that I'm not thinking of.
Yeah.
That you might be conflating the two. But yes. That is Jeff Lemire's artistic work when he writes and draws.
Gotcha.
But yeah. This was, in some ways it was good, and then it was kind of simple. And I don't know if that's...
Yeah, it was really straightforward. There was no... I never felt like they were figuring things out so much as Constantine was just, like, talking to people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
gathering the troops.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't any, like, its weak point is here, I guess. And I don't know. I'm trying to think about it again in terms of what does this say about the what kind of take is this on nature?
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And, like, so humans have brought about the downfall of Earth and the green and the red. You know, it's leading to death for everybody.
Yeah, and ultimately they'll leave the end of the rot, too, because if there's just rocks, you know?
Yeah, nothing to eat.
Mm-hmm.
They have that part where the little girl goes, I was just born into this world. Like, I didn't cause this. Why are you punishing me? She doesn't say that exactly, but...
Yeah. But that's her point, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, I guess...
Yeah, it feels a little bit like, I mean, where it comes from with me is like the argument of like, when people say like, maybe it's for the best that, you know, climate change is going to happen. And, you know, like, 'cause people, that's what it is. When people say, really, maybe humans are the
overpopulation.
Virus. Yeah, overpopulation, you know, like, and then, comparing humanity to a virus, basically, being like, we're the problem, actually. And it's like, that's not how it works. It's, you know, it is systems of oppression and, you know, lots of other factors on Earth that, like, you know, yes, ultimately some humans did create. But yeah,
it's interesting that it was, you know, the relationship between the oil rig colony and this little island colony is kind of like, you know, another remake of that system of oppression kind of thing of like, we're just stepping on you because we can.
Yeah.
But then the real villain is nature? I don't know.
Yeah.
It kind of felt like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. If there is a message to sort out here, it is one that is confused, I think. It's safe to say.
I think it's trying to be like, oh, we'll survive anyway. You know, the green always finds a way, you know, even through, you know, a different vessel, someone who's nicer, the little girl.
Yeah.
I kind of saw 3 different kind of themes going on, where one was like the importance of humanity's choice or man's right to choose, and like that having priority, because at the end, the reason why Swamp Thing and Maxine is her name, the animal woman,
right.
just destroy their respective parliaments.
And they say very specifically, like you're saying, humans need to have the choice.
Right.
I didn't know if humans didn't have the choice before that, though.
Right. I see, and that's my issue with it, is because they did choose, and their choices made them end up here.
Yeah,
Your choices sucked, and you have to live with them.
Yeah, like, I mean, that makes me wonder. I'm like, not that I'm not saying that this would make it better, because really, if it is this way, then it should say it in the text of this book. But is it like in the Scott Snyder run, do we find out that it's like, oh, actually the green and the red and all of them are like subtly influencing, the world,
Inspiring.
making them, because then it's like, oh, it's all their fault. But now that things are wrecked, then it's, they just want a scapegoat, that would be one thing.
Right.
But, we don't have that context, if it is that way, which again, honestly, the more I think about it, probably not. It probably isn't.
Yeah. And then some other things is like, as long as there's life, there's hope. So it kind of connected to the phrase "Swamp Thing never dies." Mm-hmm. And I don't know, this idea of like we're not gonna like run and hide. We're gonna stand and fight, kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. I could see that theme being present.
Yeah.
It's kind of the problem, though, right? Like, if a story has 3 themes, then it doesn't know what it's doing.
Well, that's not necessarily true, but it's maybe it being... okay, so it could be one, it's not that long. It's 3 books, 136 pages when you cut out, all the front and the back stuff.
Yeah. I would say that from my perspective, the more primary theme is like the right to choose, as opposed to the other 2.
Yeah. I mean, when you say
okay, can we go over again the evidence to point to that theme other than Swamp Thing defeating them and being like, now humans can choose? Like, do we have anything else that contributes to that theme?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, in some ways, the other theme that Tailon was talking about earlier, which is like, the island community wanting to be able to like choose their destiny, I guess, a little bit, and not like being able to live free, I guess.
Yeah, they're being pressured by the other colony.
Yeah.
That's true. Okay.
Yeah.
But also they're not the green.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd say like, for me, in general, this book kind of like, it started off with really good, like I was very interested in the characters and like they're the last survivors, basically. Yeah. How are they functioning? What's their day-to-day like that was interesting. Mm-hmm. And then it shifted to, now we're going to talk about Alec Holland and all this and Constantine. And it's like, it kind of lost me there, because I think that the conflict wasn't there anymore. It was just kind of like, well, now this is about action.
Right.
Yeah, I guess I can see what you mean, where it's like we introduce these characters, we kind of get a sense of their daily life, and then they kind of don't get any development beyond that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They bring up the mother, and then we never talk about that. There's never anything there. It kind of does become Swamp Thing's show, and Constantine. Mm-hmm. Right. And so that's the thing. When we the first part ends with, there's 3 parts. First part ends with they bring back Swamp Thing. I think that's the first part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or, okay.
Yeah.
Because I was like, either that or it's when the feral Swamp Thing is created.
No, it's when...
Because when the feral Swamp Thing is created, I was like, oh, it's called Swamp Thing because this guy is a Swamp Thing now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they're like, actually, no, we have the original Swamp Thing too.
Yeah.
I mean, if you make an evil Swamp Thing, you have to have the good Swamp Thing, right?
Right, yeah.
Evil twin, good twin.
But honestly, I at first, when I first saw that, I was kind of like, oh, well, this isn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. So in that way, I was a little disappointed. But now being there, I kind of wish that we hadn't brought in Alec Holland and we were just like, how do these people, like, you know, I would be fine if we just had Constantine, if this was like like, it was like, surprise, it's actually Constantine's story. But also if he was just a side player in it still, if we were really just focusing on like the dad and the daughter, but Constantine was there and he could like, you know, basically be the magic version, the fantasy version of technobabble, like, you know, the scientist that can explain things in English, you know, like, oh, this is what's happening, you know, and then they can like help arm them against the swamp things and, you know.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Can be all like, I knew a good swamp thing. He was a hero.
Yes.
Yeah, it becomes a Swamp Thing show. It's interesting. When I heard the title Green Hell, I was a little bit... I thought it was going to be more... I don't know how to describe it. More metal.
Yeah. I could see that too, also.
Gross and gritty.
Yeah.
It is kind of gross. Like,
Oh, yeah. No.
Thing. That's pretty violent.
Yeah, I was a little shocked even after I'd seen some like pretty gruesome deaths when the lady with the shotgun gets stabbed through. I was like, whoa. Whoa. Yeah. So yeah, it's gruesome, but yeah, I do agree kind of like, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I didn't read the description particularly well. It was more based on, you know, one, of course, the character, and then two, the writer. So I didn't really know what this was going to be about. I was like, yeah, it could be Swamp Thing in hell, you know, it could be, you know, maybe his life has become a living hell, you know, I don't...
It kind of has in this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ripped away from paradise.
Yeah. But, yeah, I don't know. I did kind of think that, maybe we're going to get a little bit more like abstract, experimental, both with the art and the story. You know, this was
felt very short story.
Yeah. It's very just tight, you know, like, yep, this is what we're doing, you know, and like you have to think too, so it's really interestingly paced actually, you know. So on the one hand, it is like roughly the number of pages of like 5 to 6 issues of like 24-page comics. But on the other hand, it's 3 books and it reads very quickly.
Yeah.
But then also it's like the whole 3 books takes place across like 24 hours, I think it's safe to say. And so in that way, yeah, the fact that it reads fast and it only takes place across one day, it makes it feel like this could have been compressed into like 1 issue.
Oh, yeah.
Like it feels like I didn't get a lot of story per 3 books.
Interesting.
Yeah, like all you have to do to fight back is get more people to help you fight, right?
Right.
Okay, so that kind of makes me think about, you know, the apathy you kind of get from some of the outside characters.
What do you mean?
I guess Constantine's right away is like, guess I gotta save people. Is like up to something. But he has to convince Maxine to step in.
Yeah.
And so apathy in like, what were you trying to say about that?
Do anything unless Constantine approached her about this and convinced her.
Yeah, which does also like kind of beg the question. I'm like, is this really the last humans on Earth? Is there like other humans where she was, you know? Like,
I was actually thinking this was a longer story, and one of the things they love doing in apocalypse stories is, oh, we're not actually the last humans.
mm-hmm.
There's other colonies, which of course there are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What are the chances that the last people will be the people from the United States that speak English?
Yeah.
It's the people who live on the oil rig. They're the most hardy.
Yeah. So yeah. With all of the people, like the mountains, yeah. Like you honestly, actually, yeah, you'd expect that there would probably be, if really water levels had risen so high that it's like you can only live at mountains. There's lots of people that live in the mountains, you know, like go to Everest, you know.
That's got to be a thing, though. Like being able to live with water and live with the mountain, like. Two different cultures, kind of.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you were saying, Cody, this story is somehow a longer story. You know, it's over 100 pages.
Mm-hmm.
And yet it's 3 parts. And yet every single part kind of ends on a cliffhanger of like, will they help us fight? And then they do. And then it helps in the end. And we're fine.
Yeah.
It's very straightforward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And yet the message...
Yeah.
Kind of confusing.
Yeah. And also it feels very much a product of the problem of a lot of big 2 superhero comics, which is the every issue needs to have a fight. You know? We can't just
everything can be solved with straight up violence.
Yeah.
There's no strategy here.
Mm-hmm.
You just keep going till you can't go anymore because you got the stamina and the passion for life.
Yeah. That is literally what he said.
Mm-hmm.
And you love things.
Yeah.
And you care.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you're gonna win, buddy.
Yeah. And not to retread, you know, kind of already talked about problems, but also just kind of the fact that it's like, yes, I understand that he was like powered up by like the demon energy or whatever, but like, is there like any lasting consequences of destroying the parliament? You know, like,
right.
Do they have powers to fight against, or were there...
The trees were evil. We should have gotten rid of them all along.
Yeah.
That is just goes in again where I'm like, this is kind of confusing.
Yeah.
There's no compromise, huh?
Mm-hmm.
You just fight and you defeat them because they're mean and they've gone bad.
Yeah.
Do we get better trees later?
Right. And that kind of is like what I thought about when thinking about the theme of like man's choice was like, to me, I'm like, you can't just like destroy the parliament and be like, all right, now a man gets to have the choice to choose, because if they're just given the choice, they're just going to choose what's good for them. And
yeah,
it's like,
yeah, and the man doesn't even know what's going on, actually.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what the parliament or the green
They
is.
just know they're being attacked and they're trying to survive.
Right.
Yeah.
It really is kind of the thing of like, can you fight your way out of bad choices?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So to me, I was like, in my mind, it's like, I think what would have been better is like in a way compromise, but like more so like show humanity a better way, because they need an example of how to make a good choice, you know? And so It's like, can you like help them to prosper? Like,
yeah. And I mean, like, ultimately, like, it would be better if we got shown more, but like, it feels like, you know, the island community is like, you know, doing pretty good. You know, they're growing things and farming things as best they can. You know, they're scavenging what they can.
I get the feeling that in this book we were supposed to see something where it's like, oh man, the fish are dwindling, things are getting dire kind of thing.
Yeah.
That they typically do.
Yeah, I mean,
we don't get that, so
yeah.
things are going fine, probably.
Yeah, for sure. I guess, the fact that the green and the red are all like, yeah, we are getting weaker and weaker. So I guess in that way it is like, it's not just humanity that is dwindling, it is every life on Earth.
And that's why they lash out. But we kind of don't get that reflected. Like you said, Tailon, the humans don't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on and they just don't know, and they're never shown anything. Or, man, they really could have been like, this girl is an example of how humanity can become better. And the green could be like, we give her this power to something, compromise, bridge the gap.
Right.
There's just something there they could have done, but it really was just kind of, it feels like a popcorn movie. You watch it and you're like, wow, they fought really good. And they won because humanity.
Yeah. It would actually be kind of cool if, like, maybe like both Swamp Thing and Animal Woman had to, like, sacrifice.
Give their power.
Yeah, but then this little girl could be like she could have the powers of the green, the red, and the rot, basically, and like be their triplicate avatar,
I gotcha.
But in a way,
it would have been a little bit much, but I think it would have been something more than what we got.
Yeah.
Even if it's just temporary, like after the battle, she's like not that person anymore.
True.
Yeah.
And then the ending, of course, being like, oh, she still has a little green. They could have still done that.
Yeah.
What an odd book. Somehow satisfactory, and yet when I scratch the surface, I'm like, what's going on down there? Yeah,
because, actually, it does. There's just too many, like, logical problems, and it's like, you don't need to, like, I really am not trying to cinema sins this, but it's really tough to be like...
The through line is tough.
Yeah, the through line is tough. And, it's like, okay, so you can make avatars of the green. And what is one of the main powers of an avatar of the green? They can create plant life. And you are worried about plant life on Earth. Your power is dwindling. So why not just create somebody and then just... fill the available land that is available for plant life with plant life.
I think the answer to that would have been probably like, we're growing weaker, and so to grant somebody that ability, they might not have had that in them.
I mean, they have the ability to create at least one Swamp Thing avatar to kill humans.
Right.
And then a billion little army.
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
okay, that's a good point.
We only did one. That was our mistake.
Yeah.
To be fair, I think that, they would have been better off just trying to reanimate somebody.
They're evil, though. We need to kill the evil trees.
Yeah.
Global warming was right. So dumb.
Wow.
Well, I'm simplifying it, of course.
Yeah.
But I mean, in some ways, I know that you're like both joking and simplifying it, but it's like, the way that you can say global warming was right and then be on both sides,
We just need one brave person to stand up and say, actually, climate change is bad, you guys.
But I think that's kind of all I've got on it. It's like,
Same.
It's a little bit of a mess. I wanted a little bit more out of it. It does have some interesting, like, ideas going for it.
I wanted to like it more.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to like it more.
Yeah. I really like the Donald was his name. We didn't even say his name. The dad and the daughter. Like, I really like that dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
I just, they shifted away from that.
Yeah. And didn't care to develop it. Like, yeah. I mean, early on, you mentioned this, Chawienta, but the, after Donald has, like, kind of a confrontation with, like, the community council, let's say, their meeting, about what to do about the oil rig community. The daughter asks about her mom, and why she died and stuff. And we don't really get any, like, kind of, like, emotional catharsis for that.
We never address that again.
Yeah, never address it.
Yeah. So in general, character growth, just not a thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And even for Alec, too, who becomes the main character, it's like, he just gets what he wants, I mean, he
feels a little bad because little girl looks like his little girl, and he's like, I guess I will fight for humans. It's kind of it.
Yeah. Not much there.
Are you green
with envy?
No. But yeah, so that's kind of it. I think that's all we really have to say about it. It could have been better. Certainly not my favorite Jeff Lemire work. Yeah, we touched on the art earlier. It's fine. It didn't really do anything.
It was
for
nice
me.
in the beginning.
Yeah,
but then it gets kind of busy with all the fighting. I kind of cared about less then, but it still was fine.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, coming up next in our theme, we'll probably have I don't actually know what our next thing we'll cover is, but probably something that rhymes with poison 5e.
You're only rhyming half the word.
Yeah, that's how that joke works.
Okay. Can you guess what we're going to choose?
Yeah.
I don't even know, Cody. I don't know. I have no guesses after that.
Yeah.
Still like, wait, no, I still don't get it. What rhymes with poison 5e?
Next time, maybe the green was right.
Yeah, we'll see, more eco-terrorism, perhaps.
Do you remember the time where Joker was an eco-terrorist?
When?
This was in Batman the World, I think.
I don't remember that.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think it was.
What did he do?
I think it was like he was at a kind of ritzy kind of resort on like a mountain, a snow-capped mountain kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
that wasn't like the capital J Joker,
right?
Oh, it wasn't?
I don't know. I didn't think it was, but maybe it was. I don't know. Those stories were weird.
Yeah.
They were very experimental.
Yeah.
True. Because they were literally like a bunch of collections of stories from different countries.
Yeah. Yes. All right. But anyway, thank you for listening to our coverage of Swamp Thing, Green Hell. This has been the Comic Panel. I'm Cody.
I'm Tailon.
And I'm Chawienta.
And we'll see you next time. Thank you for listening.